Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome back to Felsbrunn Farm. Our crops have grown overnight, as you can see, they are ready to harvest. Now, I did actually turn crop growth up earlier in the evening last night to normal rather than just slow, so that they'd be ready to harvest today. I did do a little bit of extra contracting last night. After you left us, we were working away on... which field were we on? I think we're on field 18, weren't we? Well, after that, I did field 14 and field 12, and then finished off on field 6. So those jobs, if I go to soil composition, let's turn off the plough state and the lime state. There you can see the fields that we sprayed yesterday. So obviously we sprayed 13, that now had a second application by the look of it, but I did field 14, 12 and 6 at the end of the episode, or after the end of the episode, where we were working on field 18. So a nice little bit of extra cash, which is certainly going to help us out. We now have a little bit less debt than we did before. So if we look at our finances tab, you can see that our loan is now 645,000 euros as opposed to around 700,000 that it was yesterday. So that's definitely helped us out in terms of the payments. We go down, you can see our loan interest much reduced from when we first started out and we were getting over 4,000 a night. It's now 3.5, so it helps. But we're going to be harvesting today. We're going to bring in our soybean, and if we get a really good price, maybe even selling them straight away as well. Let's jump over and check out the chickens. A little bit of mess to clean up. I did clean these up last night before I locked up the farm for the night. There we go. So an extra couple of 100 litres. Just tip that back in. There we go. Let's take a look at our egg pile. Another couple of boxes added in as well. So we are still working away quite nicely. Let's take our numbers. We're up to, let's see, it doesn't tell me there, does it? It's the animal tab. No more reproduction rates showing, so we are now full on chickens, back up to 100 again. So let's sell off another block. You can see we're up to 531 litres, so we're closing in on our first 1,000 litres. We're halfway there, and that'll get us our first sort of 3,000 or so dollars from, or euros from our eggs. Interestingly enough, I did notice, I checked last night when I brought the sprayer back, I did some maintenance on that. The maintenance box does say dollars. It doesn't track the currency change. It's very strange. We're in euros, as you can see in the top right corner, and yet the maintenance box says dollars. So a little bit of a bug that needs to be fixed. I don't know if that's going to be high on their list of priorities. They might not even know about it at this stage. But let's sell off some more chickens. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Confirm those. Did we just sell 10 chickens? I don't think we did we? I don't think they actually sold. Let's see, we've got 39, 40, 72. No, they didn't sell. Okay, let's try that again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. So there you can see, look, we can sell them for 250 and there's a 150 euro fee, so this will make us $100. Confirm. And it's not selling my chickens. Okay, so our chickens are bugged. It would seem. It won't let me sell them. Never mind. I'm sure that will clear itself next time we reload the save file. Let's crack on with the harvest. This game definitely has a few little bugs that are frustrating, but they don't break the game. We can still do stuff. What's going on with our trailer? Our trailer's trying to escape the... Oh dear, oh dear. It's always a strange moment when you play a game that's just come out, because you get all these weird little things that shouldn't be happening that just start happening. Very, very strange, and some of them can be frustrating, some of them can be just weird, and some of them can be absolutely hilarious. I know a lot of you found my struggles with the bales when that trailer was literally trying to shake itself to pieces. A lot of you found that quite funny. And looking back, I can find that quite funny as well. At the time, it was a bit panicky and a bit frustrating. But this is the risk you run with day one versions of games. They always have a few little weird moments that need to be ironed out. So let's start harvesting our soybean. Turn our combine on. There we go. See, there's our saplings between the trees. Those will hopefully start growing quite soon, and we can then obviously turn those into a bit more profit as well. Let's take a quick look while that's running at the price of soybean. You can see our egg, great demand. The price is still going down. It was about 2,000 last night when I locked up the farm. Now it's less than 1,800, so that's pretty bad. I got a second great demand pop up as well for canola, as you can see, and again, it's not a great price. It's not bad. It was 500 last night, so that's actually gone up overnight. Losing any bits? No, we're getting it all. Good stuff. So we need to check out the price of soybean. We've got an improving price at the barn. No, not the barn. The grain elevator east. It's 1,320, but going up, as you can see. Just ticked over right there. The best price at the moment is the train station mill, 1,753. Let's see where we end up once we've actually finished harvesting our crop. This is fully fertilized on fields that have been ploughed, have been limed, and have been weeded. So this will be the maximum possible yield that we could get on this. It'd be interesting to see how much we end up with. Ooh, careful. Ooh, look at that. Just bent the edge of the crop. Didn't go far in enough to actually destroy it. Came very close there. I want to put the headland around the field, just so I don't run the risk of going off into the road. And I was talking about how the weeders don't seem to clear the straw away. Straw that you dump outside of a field on a contract stays there as well. You remember when we did field 12, that big field with the New Holland? I think that was episode 2, and we kind of struggled to get started because the header was dragging on the floor and we could only move 2 or 3 miles an hour initially before we could get going. The combine was also in swathing mode, so it created this huge pile of straw right behind the combine when we first got going. That little lump on the edge of the field is still there. When I sprayed field 12 last night, there was a little pile of straw that was just staring at me, gleaming in the sunlight, in the headlights of my tractor. So that's an oddity. We're not used to seeing a lot of that. Usually when we get that transition from one state of a contract field to another, stuff kind of changes and it resets the field to the next state. Well, that was just on the edge, and with the new sort of land mechanics, that straw is stuck there still, and I don't think we'll actually be able to scoop it up either, because we don't own the land, we don't have access to it. So I don't think we'd even be able to scoop that little bit of straw up just to clear it away. So that little pile of straw could be there for a very, very long time indeed. Of course, it's not going to rot away because, you know, we don't have seasons yet. So it could be It could be in-game weeks and weeks and weeks before that straw disappears. Yeah, when we get the chance to actually access it and get rid of it. At some point we will try and purchase Field 12, I think, but that's still way off yet. Fields 3, 4 and 5 are our next targets for land expansion, and if we can get a really good price and a really good volume of soybean, then that'll bring us that little bit closer to actually picking up our next plot of land and getting a third field on the go. And the more fields we have, the more money we can make per round of harvesting, which will increase how quickly we can expand, both in terms of equipment and land and animals as well. Don't forget we are looking to get horses set up at some point, but we do need another couple 100,000 on the money that we have available right now, really, to be able to do that. Not just to be able to buy the paddock, but also to buy a horse and some bales to feed it, and on top of that also, you know, a water trailer, a water butt, so we can actually get water quite easily, and an animal transport trailer as well to cut down on those fees that we're going to get from delivery. So yeah, while it's nice that we're making money, and we did make quite a bit of money yesterday, it really was a spray day payday, is the term I've liked to coin there. We did make quite a bit of money yesterday, but it's a drop in the ocean to what we actually need, which is a fair bit more. And I'm drifting. Look, there we go. Have to go back and tidy that up again in a moment. This is why I need to practice my in-cab harvesting. I always seem to drift inside or outside the field and do wonky lines. So hopefully I'll be a little bit better by the time we've finished our harvesting over here, and I won't make that mistake quite so often. I get the feeling we're still going to miss patches though. So a little bit of tidying up will be needed to be done at the end of this harvest. I really need to pay more attention. I just started driving through there without even realising that I was full. So I've damaged a little bit of my crop there, or having already damaged just the corner, the very tiny little corner of the next field as well. So already our attempt at a perfect soybean harvest has gone horribly, horribly wrong with damage to our fields, both of our fields now. There's that bit where I accidentally drove into it while doing this headland. So that little corner piece is damaged, and now I've put tyre tracks into one of my passes as well. Not the greatest of starts, but we'll carry on. We'll adapt. We'll do the best we can and try not to make any more silly little mistakes like that, which will cost us crop. Going well so far, no major mistakes since that opening period. I'm just making sure that I empty a little bit earlier than I need to, because I don't think I've got enough space left in the tank to go up and down the field again before I fill up. So if we empty now, slightly ahead of required time, means we can keep moving a little bit more freely. There we go. That's another 4,500 litres or so in the silo. So that brings us up to double digits for our harvest so far. Still got a fair chunk of this field left to go as well. So we're looking at, I think, potentially, let's see. Let's zoom out a bit and have a look and see how much we've done. That's what we've covered so far, and that equates to 10,000 litres. So we're looking at maybe 25, between 25 and 30,000 litres on this field, I think, which isn't too bad. And then same again on the other field. I think they're about the same size. The other one is a little bit shorter. So if there's, say, 25 to 30,000 on this field, we're probably looking at 20 to 25,000 on the other field. So we're looking at sort of anywhere between 45 and 60,000 litres or so. Now, at a price of around 1800, that's over 100 grand. That's a huge boost to our finances if we can get that much. That'll really help us out in terms of stepping towards an expansion of some kind, be it an animal pen or towards another plot of land. And if we can take on or keep taking on some good paying contract jobs in between this and the next harvest as well, and we get another really good round of harvesting out of our way, another good yield, another strong crop, then it's not going to be too long until we can buy this plot of land here maybe, and then rip up the grass and put something in there that we can actually work and sell for good money. So that'll be good. That'll be a nice step forward for the farm. For now, I'm going to carry on harvesting away, and I'll check back in again in a little while. There we go, another 5,500 litres or so going into the silo. We're progressing very, very nicely, as you can see. Still got that big strip in the middle there. There's going to be at least another 5,000 litres or so in that strip, maybe more. And then a whole second field to go as well. Let's take a look at our prices. Up to 14.14 at the grain elevator east. That's still going up. Our good price that we had at the mill, at the train station mill, is on its way down. And then the prices in the middle, well, Port Northwest is pretty rubbish. The other two prices, the grain mill's not a great price. Port Southeast is pretty average. Nothing special there. So we're kind of waiting to see really what happens at Port Northwest. That looks like that's going to be the place to sell our soybean. And if the price doesn't look good enough, then I will happily just sit on the soybean for a bit and wait till we get something that looks a little bit more special, a little bit more worthwhile. And if that happens to be at a closer location, then all the better. If we get a lot as well, what we might do is we might use the train as a delivery system. There's no train sell point. You can see it kind of whizzing around the map there. But what we could do is we could perhaps get a conveyor and we could tip into the train. In fact, no, we don't even need a conveyor, do we? We could just load at one of the train silos. So let me just get onto an overhead view like that for a second. If we open the mini-map, the closest one would be Railroad Silo East. Oh, actually, no. If we're going to the Railroad Silo East, that's only really going to help us if we need to sell it somewhere like Port Southeast. But what we could do is we could load all of our grain into the silo and then drive the tractor with the trailers over to the other silo, to the grain elevator east, unload from there. Or unload the train at that point and then take the grain from there to the sell point to, say, Port Southeast, or that's going to be the closest one, isn't it, really? So there's 3 railroad silos, and the grain there's only 2 silos that we can actually unload from by the look of it. I think Grain Silo East is actually a sell point, not somewhere we could actually store grain. So yeah, two silos then. They're both kind of out of the way. Neither of them really helps us. Railroad Silo West is probably going to be perhaps only really useful if we need to sell at the train station mill. Looks as though the train is not that well implemented in terms of silos to sell points on this particular map. Hopefully, you know, we'll see some really useful kind of options popping up in the future with modders. We know that some modders do like to do stuff with the trains. You remember something on my shoe 2 did an incredibly long train on Houdet Ranch. We played on that one for a while as American Midwest, and that was actually a really intricate rail network, very, very long. It took about 12 minutes for a train to do a complete loop. We don't need to see anything quite that long, but if we can get a network with multiple sort of pick-up and drop-off points, and maybe even a couple of integrated rail sell points as well, that would be good. Giants, for whatever reason, they never really seem to implement the train into a map very well. I mean, when we had the train in FS17, it was kind of pointless on Goldcrest. Didn't really do much at all. It wasn't really very well implemented at all. And then with Estancia Lapacho, it was better, but it still wasn't brilliant. I don't know, the train seems one of those strange things that it works, but it doesn't work at the same time. You've got to be selling the right crop and in the right volume for it to really make sense. And on this map, I don't see us getting that much use out of the train, given where we're located. Maybe if you're located somewhere else, then the train would be a better option for you. But given where our farm is located, I'm not really all that sure that the train is going to help us out much. It's just going to be a nice kind of bit of moving scenery in the background that we'll see whiz past from time to time, and occasionally get held up by at a level crossing. Still, we'll press on with the rest of this field. Not too much to go now. I think 3 passes left. Looking at this, that looks about 3 passes, maybe a 4th very, very thin pass. I'm right on the border here. Need to step across a touch. There we go. We might get that last bit there with 2 passes. But yeah, not a huge amount to go. We're a little under half capacity on the combine, so it'll be interesting to see whether we need to do another unload. I think we might be able to get all of this in, you know, that's left on the field in the tank, and then we'll move on to field 2 and we'll harvest that, and then we'll check our prices again and see whether or not we can sell today or whether we hang on and sell another day. So the spacing has worked out pretty much perfectly, as you can see. We're just about filling the header with this final pass. That's nice to see. There we go, and that little tuft that I missed the last time out, we'll swing around and grab that. And there we go. Field 1 is finished. So we didn't quite get as much as I thought of this field, but we got a nice good amount. We'll get a final for sort of official tally in just a second when we tip in, and then we'll do the next field and see just how much our total soybean harvest is going to be. I need to start thinking about what crops to plant next as well. We could go with another round of soybean. Alternatively, what we could do, at least on the smaller field, is perhaps do a wheat or a barley harvest, so that we've got some wheat that we can put in the silo as feed for our chickens going forward, as opposed to having to buy pallets, although they've still got a lot of food left. Take a look. They've still got just under 1900 litres. I don't think it's going to be a need for us to add more chicken feed for quite some time. So rather than putting a crop in based on a decision for the animals, we'll certainly have time to do another round of crops for sale, rather than kind of handcuffing ourselves a little bit to a specific crop just for the chickens. Right, so how much did we get off this field? Let's have a look. Check our silo. 20,813 litres. Oh, that's less than I thought. I thought we'd get somewhere around 25 to 30. So we've got 20,000 litres, which means we'll probably get a little bit less off this field, because this field is a little bit smaller. So we're probably talking maybe 18,000 on this one. 18,000 litres. That's still not bad though. That's still going to be, in the region of 35 to 40,000 litres on this field. Sorry, in total across these two fields. And with soybean prices potentially quite high, that's still a fair old chunk of cash. So if we say 80,000 litres at 1,800 per 1,000 litres, then we're probably talking around about 65,000 euros. That's not too bad at all. No, that's not right. Yeah, 65, maybe 70,000 litres. Sorry, 70,000 euros or so. That's not too bad at all as an income. It certainly will go a long way towards, some kind of addition to the farm. But in terms of buying land, we're going to need another few of these kind of harvests, I think. It depends how much money we can make off those trees. Don't forget we have 60 trees that are in their sapling stage right now. And once those have grown and we start chopping those up, that will hopefully bring in a nice little bit of extra cash as well. If we can get, say, well, even £2,000 a tree is 120 grand. That's not a not a small amount of money. It may well be that lumber is the way we need to go to expand our farm quickly, because chickens certainly aren't going to be the way to go. I mean, it's nice that we have them, and they are producing eggs at a decent kind of rate, but really to make any money off chickens you need a lot of them, and 100 just isn't a lot. We're talking closer to 1,000 chickens to stand any kind of chance of making some, a decent income from chickens, I think. So we're a long way off that, and we just don't have the space for that many pens without sacrificing our fields, and our fields are our money makers at the moment. So yeah, chickens is not the way to go for fast and efficient financing. But they do offer us something a little bit different, and it's nice to be able to kind of have large volumes of chickens and actually make some money off eggs for the first time in 2 years, because that wasn't really an option with 17 at all. It's not since 15 that we've been able to actually make money with eggs. We're closing in on the second full combine load on this field. Well, I say second full combine. First one was under 5,000 litres when I tipped. But we're 4,500 litres through the tank on this one here. Run up and run down, and then we'll empty. Let's check our prices. 14.57 and still increasing at Grain Elevator East. So that's encouraging. Hopefully that'll be considerably higher by the end of this particular field harvest. And in terms of crops to go next, I'm torn between doing another harvest of soybean and maybe trying something like canola. Now, canola had a huge seed requirement in 17. It's just like it would go down insanely fast in your seeder when you were planting, and I'm wondering if maybe that's been addressed in 19. Maybe the seed rate has changed a little bit and we don't require quite so much seed for canola and I'd kind of like to try that out and see how we do. So what I might do is I might do a field of each. I might do one field of canola and one field of soybean. But if I remember rightly, canola is one of those crops that might require us to plough afterwards. I know it's sugar cane, sugar beets, I think potatoes, and was it sunflowers was the other one? Let's have a look. Get lined up, get squared up. And let's double check those crops. So if we go all the way across to the help tab, there we go, and we go down to improving yield. Oh, it's corn. Corn, potatoes, sugar beets and sugar cane. So we can plant canola and not have to worry about ploughing the field afterwards. So that's good. I kind of like to try corn as well, but that would mean buying a different header for our combine, and I don't really want to spend money on a header for something that we're probably not going to do that much of for a while. Oh, we stepped inside again, look. Just back up a touch, reposition, re-engage cruise control. There we go. Back on target again. Ooh, 56. I thought we had a 6,000 litre combine for a second. Then it's 5,600. So we've actually, without realising it, we hit the limit pretty much as we drifted inside. I was not aware of that. So again, we've done a little bit of damage there. It's not the end of the world. We caught it pretty quickly. So let's get emptied. I don't know why I've just been labouring under the assumption or the misapprehension that we had a 6,000 litre tank in the combine. I'm not quite sure why I was making that conclusion. It's only 5,600 litres. There we go. So this will put our yield total so far, I think, up towards 30,000. It's 29.5. That's 30. And still going. 31. 31.25. Did I miss a stretch? No. Okay, so 31.25 is not bad so far. We're on target, I think, for a 40,000 litre harvest, which isn't bad at all. I'm not going to say no to 40,000 litres of soybean to sell, especially seeing as we can only really transport 24,000 litres at a time at the moment. I would like to have a larger sort of crop delivery system, so a more powerful tractor and a larger trailer, maybe even a truck and trailer, but it's a bit beyond us price wise at the moment. And as I've said before, there are more important things that we need to spend our money on first, rather than getting a big shiny tractor and a big trailer. You know, we need more land. We need more fields to earn money faster. And we could also, as I say, I'd like to look at getting into horses, because I think we could actually make quite a bit of money over a long period of time, but we could certainly make money off the horses. There we go, that's kind of cleaned up the mess we made from last time. Let's start at the other end again, because we have a bit of a wonky edge on this part of the field, so I want to try and clean that up if I can. Swing around, look at those lovely views. There we go. And of course, by doing it manually this way and not, hiring a worker even just for the unload and unloading into a trailer, which we then load into the silo, by just working here and manually unloading the combine, we're saving a little bit of wear and tear on our Fent or New Holland, whichever one of the two we'd have used. We're potentially saving a little bit of wear and tear on the trailer. We're certainly saving fuel costs on a second vehicle. And more importantly, we're saving worker wages as well. So we're spending a lot less money on this harvest than we did on the previous one. And all these small little changes in income, they all add up. They all, combine together. So if you're running workers a lot, even if the jobs are small, over a period of time, those small little fees, those continual little additions to your wage bill, in the end, very quickly start adding up to quite one big expense on your costs, and it eats into your profit margin. We do need to get a little bit more hands-on while we're in our infancy like this, because every single euro is important to us at this stage. The more we have, the quicker we can expand, and the more we spend, the slower that expansion becomes. There we go. Clean that edge up a little bit. And another 1,500 litres in the combine. So, yeah, definitely on target, I think, for 40,000 litres. If we can get above that, that'll be a bonus. But 40,000 is going to be pretty much the ballpark, I think, for our total grain harvest here. And then we can start work with planting. And I'm toying with the idea of actually getting rid of the planter and replacing it with something a little bit different. I'm going to have a look around and see what there is, but we may possibly switch out our seeder for something a little bit different. Maybe one that doesn't require fertilizer, so that we can just run seed in it and control the fertilization process ourselves. I don't know, I need to think about that. But I would like something a little bit wider than 3 meters if possible. So if we can find a 4 or 6 meter seeder that has a decent capacity, then we may well switch over to that. So we can't quite get the final pass in one go. We're going to have to do it in 2 stages. It's a little bit too wide. So we'll play it safe and make sure that we can get everything off the field. You can see there, just this kind of thin strip that's left here. And that's all that's left now of our soybean harvest. It's taken us a while. You can see it's just ticked past 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So might have time for a quick couple of contracts, if they're short, like transport jobs or something like that. Certainly won't have time to go off and do a contract harvest or anything. Just going to run out of time today. We'll get the planting started tomorrow, I think. Still umming and ahhing about the crop choice. I don't know where to go, canola or to go with more soybean. And let's check the price at the store as well, see if that's improved anymore. Oh, it's stopped at 14.57, and Port Southeast at 15 is now in decline as well. So well, that settles it. We're not selling our soybean today. We had a really good price, and that dwindled before we had the chance to get all the crop off the field. So we'll leave it in the silo. We have plenty of capacity. We have 100,000 litres of storage space in our silo. Plus, if we need it, we've always got the backup of sticking it in the grain, the train silos as well, for some emergency kind of temporary storage. Or we could look at just expanding our yard going forward with a larger silo. At some point, we will probably replace our silo with the larger 200,000 litre version. but that's again a way off. It's an unnecessary upgrade at this point. We're unlikely to hold on to crops long enough for us to need to store a couple of 100,000 litres. It's more often than not going to be the case that as soon as we're harvested, we're looking to sell it so that we can make that money and march on towards a third field. Looking at what we've got in the tank here, 4,300 litres. We're looking at 4.4, maybe 4.5 by the end of this pass. Yeah, about 4.5 maybe. Just giving the birds a bit of a scare there. That's 4.4. And we have, how much do we have in there? 35.5, just over 35.5. So we're looking at 40,000 litres effectively, which is not too bad. It's not too bad at all. It's just we don't really have a good price to sell the soybean for at the moment. And that's it. Harvest done. 4,507 litres. The remaining amount on this field. So we'll get this tipped in. Just looking around in the cab here at some of these control boxes that we haven't really paid much attention to. Do like that control box just there. That does look good. We definitely need to give this a clean, and we'll also need to put it through its repair stage as well. Make sure it's in tip-top condition, ready for the next harvest, which will be in a few days' time. There we go, last of the soybean going in. Watching it empty out the back tank there. $1,500 litres left. And that's it, can't see anymore, and it's done. Fantastic stuff. So, harvest is complete. We've made a decent amount of money. Let's just poke the header in. Like that. There we go, and repair that. And you can see there, it's charging us $38, not euros. Frustrating that it's doing that, but it's not a big thing, I suppose. And let's swing around and get the combine in the repair area. There we go. And repair that for 133. A little bit more expensive. With a quick clean. There we go, and the header as well. The header's dirtier than the combine, which makes more sense. As more of that is in contact with the ground. There we go. And now we'll get this back on the trailer and back away. And then see if we've got a couple of quick jobs that we can do to close the day off. Let me just go over the ramp as we go around the corner. There we go, get the header lined up. That looks pretty good. Can we fold our combine this time? Yes, we can. Fantastic stuff. Oop. Was a bit careless. back the trailer in. There we go. It doesn't matter if it's a slight angle. There we go. And park up the combine. Good stuff. Right. Total harvest allowance then, 40,203 litres. That's not too bad at all. That's a decent little stockpile to sit on. And it's a good benchmark going forward. We know we'll get fractionally more next time if we're more careful. So 40,000 litres per harvest of soybean on our 2 fields. That's not too bad at all. Canola should yield a little bit more, but obviously is worth a bit less. Same with things like sunflowers, and wheat and barley will yield quite a bit more, but obviously are worth a lot less. So we're looking probably 60 to 70, maybe even 80,000 litres of wheat and barley. I'm trying to remember how much we got last time. Of course, last time we had fields that weren't in perfect condition. I think, well, in terms of lime and ploughing they were, but we only stage 1 fertilised this field here. We didn't get to it in time to put stage 2 fertilisation on. So what can we do contract-wise just to make a little bit of quick cash? From Railroad Silo West to the guest house, that's a short job there. There's a couple of harvesting jobs starting to pop up, as you can see, but it's going to take us to... Oh, look at that, a potato harvest. Using the Kyler 2. Oh, it's going to take too long. That's a big fertilising job. Field 12, again. That would require us to go and buy more fertiliser, of course. Only a couple of transport jobs. There's one. From the supermarket to Port Southeast. Let's do that one, so we can kind of take a trip into the town. So we're going to need our New Holland for that. Let's give this a quick clean while we've got the front loader bucket still attached. There we go. We'll drop the bucket just there. And I'm going to switch the wheels over. I'm going to put wider wheels back on this again, just because it does look a bit weird with skinnies. So customize wheel type. Let's just go wide, so we don't need the weights for this. Oh, I actually have to pay for those. Okay, well, we don't have to pay for those because we own those. So, wides and weights then. Oh, I forgot it disconnects the front loader when we do some customizing. See how gleamy and shiny our tractor looks now that it's been cleaned off. Oh, and that's the spikes on the pallet forks, don't I? They're over there next to the trailers. There we go. And where are we headed to? So the drop-off point right down in the bottom right corner of the map. That's the guest house. Oh, that's Port Southeast. Oh, we're going to the supermarket, aren't we? Which is in the town, sort of bottom centre, just to the left of the fuel point and the spinnery. So I'll make my way over there, and I'll see you in a moment. A little busy on the roads here. Right. So the supermarket is somewhere around here. I think it's just over there somewhere. Let's see. Let's turn off down here. This probably is actually the wrong way. That goes up to the market square. Is that the supermarket there, actually? Yeah, that's the supermarket just there, so we are in the wrong position. Okay, we'll follow the road around. Pretty sure that, yeah, I just saw the sign. This is the supermarket just there, look. And turn in. And our delivery is just there, right in front of us. Around the back side. Oh, it's 2 pallets again. So it took me a while to figure out the best way to do these double pallet jobs, but I've come up with a method I think is going to be the best way for us to do this. So I need to kind of use my wheel a little bit here to try and nudge the crate a bit. There we go. Just need them to be a little bit closer together. And now I've just got to hope I've got enough room to actually get in here to do this. Just about. This is going to be tight. Let's get the forks lowered down. See if we can hook both pallets at once. There we go, give it a little jiggle, try and get it to drop down a bit more. Okay. Let's use the fence actually to just, or the wall, just try and push these on a touch more. There we go. So we need to take these to Port South, Southeast, which is a pretty short delivery. Go. There's the train whizzing through in front of us. So we follow this road all the way along. We'll get right to the far end of the map, and that's where we need to be. Nice little storage warehouse just there. So we need to go straight over the roundabout here. Ignore the first turning, because that's not going to get us where we need to be, and take the second one. That's the first one. We want to ignore that. We want this one, the second one here. And that's the border of the map, that tunnel just there. What do we clip? Maybe we just caught the lip there with one of the crates. And there is the drop-off point, I think. Let's find out. Yes, there we go. Transport finished. So, let's complete the contract. There we go. We just got time for one more quick contract. From Railroad Silo West to the guest house. That's the opposite side of the map. Have we got one a bit closer? Nope, that is the only other transport job. So this will be the last job of the day, and then we'll shut the farm down for the night, and tomorrow we'll start planting. So we'll need to probably get some supplies. Oh, I was going to check out New Cedar as well, wasn't I? Let's have a quick look before we run out of time. So we've got this one here, the Ceres Master. Decent capacity, but that's seed and fertilizer, and it's only 3.6 meters, so it's not that much wider. We have got this one here, the Coop BTF. but we need the separate seed tank, because that doesn't actually hold seed. So we'd need that as well. So we need 25,000 for that. We don't really have the power for that. Not really. There's not a lot of options at the moment, is there? So we might stick with what we've got. Yeah, I think we'll stick with what we've got for now. So I'm going to go over to Railroad Silo West, grab that pallet, and I'll see you in a second. So here is Railroad Silo West, and the guest house is by Railroad Silo East. So a very short journey. There's our pallet. Looks like milk bottles, or bottles of something anyway. Maybe it's water, maybe it's an alcoholic beverage of some kind, who knows. Oops, I thought I was hooked on then. Nope, I'm trying to do this in cab. I'm just going to just go into the outside view and be done with it. There we go. Right. So, well, is that a poster for lizard? It is. Interesting. Okay, it's a bit of a bizarre poster. We'll get this delivered. We'll close the farm down for the night, and as I say, tomorrow we'll start planting and look to maybe take on a couple of harvest contracts, make a bit more cash. So that's it from me. Thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob. Don't forget, you can find me on Facebook or Twitter if you're new to the channel and you haven't discovered me recently, or only just discovered me recently. The links to both my Facebook page and my Twitter account are down in the description below, so be sure to have a click on those and pop over and say hi. And I'll be back with some more Felsbrunn farm very soon.